Welcome to Bleav In 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav In 76ers is presented by BetOnline.AG.
BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BLEAV50, that's BLEAV50, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav In 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Teja Dash. Gentlemen, got a nice little win the other day, and now we're about to finish out the week with another win over Chicago, hopefully.
I
don't know if Chicago's looking good. And, the Dustin Brooklyn Nets the other day. Oof.
Yep.
Hopefully they're going to come down back to reality after that.
I don't really know what they're going to get from them. I mean, they're capable of beating you. You know, we have beat them pretty good in the past, mainly because of Joel.
Yeah, Joel owns them, man. So,
yeah, well, what is his all-time record between the Bulls and Knicks? Is he undefeated against both those teams when he plays?
Embiid.
I know he's undefeated against the Knicks.
He is 12-0 against the Bulls.
Wow, man. Well, there you go. So that's crazy. He's 15-1 against the Knicks, so he's 27-1 against them.
Guess they want to give them a chance, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to see it. Maybe they want to just do an experiment and see if it's just Joel or maybe it's a Philadelphia thing.
Yeah. So, we kind of mentioned the win the other night without Embiid. So tonight we will be the same thing without Embiid against the Bulls. But let's talk about what we saw the other night. So Sixers were shorthanded without Embiid, but still battled for a big win versus Indiana. Couldn't have been close at all, but somehow we like to make things interesting. Reminded me a lot of the Lakers game, that game. But as good as Harden's offense was, it was his defense that really helped us win down the stretch. Harden noted after the game, he said he took it personally when Indiana targeted him on pick and rolls and wanted to step up. So I got two questions for you guys. Were you more impressed with Harden's offense or defense against the Pacers? And do you think Harden's lackluster defense throughout his career has been more about ability or is it effort?
Well, I mean, I think I was just happy that we got to win. Doing whatever is necessary to get the win. Whether that would be offensively or that would be defensively. You need to stop, we got to stop. You need a bucket and play, we got to play. So I don't really think it's one or the other. I just think it was just a combination of when we needed to play, he made some plays. I'm a firm believer that defense is a want to. It's also a know-how, and it's also a dedication. And that probably the fourth thing is a coach holding you accountable to do that. But I do feel that James could have been better in his career, but I do think that coaches hid him purposely. So if you kind of get used to being hid and guarding the guy that's not as active and, you're not putting a lot of pick and rolls, and, you don't really have to do it, or they switch a lot or do different things to kind of, accommodate you. You kind of get used to playing that way.
Yeah, it's true.
But I do think that he's more capable than, what's been shown, because the defensive concerns that people have had about him didn't follow him into college, and it wasn't there early in his career. Like, you didn't hear those things.
Yeah.
So I think it was more of the load he had started to get in Houston. It was sort of like, if you want me to do all this, then I got to pull back somewhere.
Exert your energy playing offense, James. Go ahead.
Defense, to me, was sort of would suffer. But I don't think it was because of know-how.
They actually built their teams to enable the poor defense.
So it was just, lack of the ability to play with that much, energy for everything that he was asked to do offensively. But you're seeing that with a lot of guys in the league nowadays.
Yeah. Donovan Mitchell comes to mind because he was actually touted as like kind of a borderline two-way player for a while. Like he had the makeup, he had the long arms, but then he just started becoming like a, shoot 25 times a game, hold the offense down for the Jazz. And the Jazz had such a defensive team around him anyway. You didn't really need him to be the exert all your energy playing on-ball defense guy. So I did see a tweet yesterday that said Harden's defense allowed 33% against who he defended. He had 2 blocks, a steal, and healed Mathurin and Naismith to combine 2 of 13. So between that and going for 26, 6, and 8, shooting just under 50%, I'd say defensively I was more impressed because I've seen him do that offensive so much. He does it all the time, right? So it doesn't, he spoils us because it's like he makes 26, 6, and 8 look routine. So what was the second question? I agree with your assessment there, Eric. I think he can. I think like he kind of even said it when in his comment. He was like, I didn't appreciate being targeted in the pick and rolls with Halliburton, so I turned it up a notch. You mean you play defense? Like you didn't really turn it up, you turned it on. It was off, dude. You just shoot. It was like the Christmas Vacation when they flip the switch and all the lights come on. It's like all you need to do is just flip the switch in the garage. That's all you need to do. So yeah, it's kind of funny to hear that him kind of admit that, unknowingly. But yeah, again, it was a good win. And Indiana, they made a deal or two. They could be a tough team, man. They have some good pieces on them. They're not there yet, but we've seen them. They played us tough. They beat some really good teams in the past 2 weeks. They could be a tough team.
Tough team to do what?
Tough team to take the number 2 seed to like 4 games.
That's what I'm looking at them like, yes, they got a nice little young group. They play well together. They play hard. I told you Rick's a really good coach.
Yeah.
But I can't see them beating any teams 4 times.
Nah, they could take a game.
I'd be very surprised if they beat anybody in the playoffs 4 times. I would be surprised. It's possible, but I would be surprised if they did that.
I'd say win a game.
I'm saying being that they're a 6th or 7th seed right now, which means that most likely all of their games will be against the top 4 or 5.
Yeah.
All of their rounds. So that's why I don't see it happen. Do I think they can beat some teams that are fighting for position with them? Yes, but I just can't see them beating 1 through 5. And if assuming we're one of the 5 and us and the Nets and
yeah, they'd get smoked with Nets.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't see it.
Might steal game from a Middleton-less Bucks, but
yeah, I think they can win. They can win the game, but I'm talking about winning the series.
Yeah, no, I don't think they'll win the series. I just for a team like that at this point, even winning like a game or 2 against like a top level talent would be pretty good, considering I don't think anyone had any expectations for them coming into the season.
Yeah.
So they went from about to trade Miles Turner to now they're gonna maybe re-sign him. So it shows you how their outlooks change too, right?
Well, that's what winning will do.
Yep.
Yeah, wasn't in the package of like a Buddy Hield and Miles Turner for something with the Lakers. That was not the rumor.
At one point, yeah, they're not doing any of it.
We don't know what that rumor is. We don't know how true that is.
That's true. That could have just been the Lakers trying to drum up any kind of attention and positive news for Westbrook trade. So
I don't even think it was the Lakers because there was no way the Lakers could turn that trade down. Like I just don't. For giving up a draft pick, I just don't think that they could be like, no, we don't want that.
Yeah.
You get a big and you get a shooter, which you say you need, and you don't give it up because you want to not give up a pick.
Yeah.
They didn't want to give up their $50 million 6-man. Come on.
Like, I don't. I don't know. I don't even think it was a Russ thing because Russ, being the last year of his deal, is very attractive to a lot of teams.
True.
Yeah.
That deal is, is like I said, it's going to be attractive because it's a contract that people can shed salary.
Mm-hmm.
So I still believe Russ probably gets traded during the break for that reason.
Yeah, for a team that's just done for the season, like they're just like
that reason.
We're cashing in. We just want to like have expiring contracts and start from scratch next year.
I just, from a Lakers standpoint, I just don't, what do you take back? That's what I'm saying. The Pacers thing was probably one of the best deals out there. Like, what do you take back?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So we talked about Harden's defense side. I've seen some Sixers fans talk about, Harden coming in and having, having the presence that he has offensively with Maxey and Melton, helping them step up their games. And then also, and you could say maybe Melton's kind of rubbed off on Harden a little bit defensively. But the thing I saw about Melton, which kind of surprised me, because we talked about Melton a lot, was Melton has made multiple threes in 14 consecutive games, which is the third longest streak in 76ers franchise history behind these two 76ers. Eric, do you want to give a guess the two Sixers that have multiple 3 consecutive games? You played with one of them.
Well, it's got to be Kyle if I played with him.
Yeah, that he has 19 games with consecutive threes.
I would say JJ Redick.
Yeah. So
ding, ding, ding.
Korver 19 games, Redick 17 games, and now Melton with 14 games.
I'm just saying. I'm just thinking of guys that could go on that kind of streak.
Yeah,
like it had to be like a primary 3-point shooter to go on streaks like that.
Yeah,
consecutive streak is what I'm saying. Consecutive. I didn't really play with many 3-point shooters in Philly, quote unquote 3-point shooters, except for Kyle.
Yeah. And Raja didn't become like a consistent 3-point shooter until after Philly, right? He wasn't like really a 3-point shooter.
Bill?
Yeah.
Man, Coach probably wouldn't let anybody shoot no threes. Man.
You said wouldn't let anyone shoot threes? I was trying to think of that team, and I was like, man, who was like a...
You could shoot a wide open 3. Like if you were wide open, they left you wide open, like he wouldn't be like, don't shoot that. But he would say, don't shoot that if you keep shooting them and missing. He would say, scoot in, get closer while you're shooting out. That's not your shot. Scoot in closer and get a shot. But everyone coached like that, though. It wasn't, like...
Yeah, he was, yeah.
It was 3-point shooter shot threes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And everybody else could shoot a wide open shot.
Yeah.
Like if they gave you a wide open shot, you take it. But most of the time, it depends if they give you a wide open shot from 17 to 24 feet, they prefer you take the 17 foot.
Mm-hmm. Man.
Whereas nowadays they
changed it.
Nowadays they prefer you take the 3.
Yep. Yeah.
But then they were like, no, don't, that's even though they, like I said, like if the guy that was guarding me just in the paint and didn't run out there, they would want me to step into the shot. So I didn't even work on threes. Basically, my whole career, I didn't even work on threes at all.
Wow.
Because it wasn't even a focus for teams.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Like you would go and I would spend time with threes. What you doing that for? Like it was almost like that. Like what are you practicing that for?
Are you taking trick shots, Eric? Get
like what are you doing? Practicing for the
what are you playing horse? Get in there.
Into the quarter shot? Like what are you doing?
Shot clock running low? What is it?
Shot clock running down?
We're the Patriots.
I used to like to take the shot clock shots. I can guarantee you if I took, and I don't even know how many threes I took. So if I took, let's just say 53s in my career, it would not surprise. I'm telling you, I'm guessing though. I don't know for sure.
Okay.
I can guarantee you 35 to 40% of those threes, if not more, were like in the shot clock or in the quarters. 35 to 40% of my threes.
You said you shot 3-pointers?
Yes.
Okay, yeah,
35 to 40% of them were, in the quarter shot clocks, the shots that people wouldn't take. 35 to 40% of them were in the quarter shot clocks, the shots that people wouldn't take. 35 to 40% of them were in the quarter shot clocks, the shots that people wouldn't take. 35 to 40% of them were in the quarter shot clocks, the shots that people wouldn't take.
In your career, you shot a lot more than that in your career.
Well, he made 55 of them.
Yeah, you made 55.
So I shot a lot more in Cleveland than I did in Philly. I probably shot more in Cleveland in fewer years than I did in Philly.
Not the case, but your career high in a season was tied your first year in Cleveland, and then with 99-2000 season. 45 was your career high in a season.
But that same year though, you made 13 threes with Cleveland, but you made 11 with Philly.
Yeah, that was your highest percentage, I believe, that season in Cleveland.
And I'm telling you, in those years, if I didn't take those shots, the guys jump up and then let the clock run out and be like, hey, and then they throw it up there. Yeah. Those shots. If I did that, not saying that my percentage obviously would jump up, but it would probably, if I was say 20, whatever it was, I would go up easily close to 10%, 8 to 10% if I take those shots away. I felt that I could have been, analytics wise, I could have been a 33% shooter. What they told me, I firmly believe that if I worked on it, because I worked on the twos, and it was hard back then to shoot. Back then, if you shot 40% from the field, you were considered a decent shooter.
Yep.
Because it was so hard to score.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, it's just so different. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like from what you're describing with the percentages and ticking down percentages based on like last second heaves from a 3-pointer, that's almost like what guys do now with like half court shots. They have to decide, should I get out this half court shot or I don't want to play my percentages. It's like back then that was like 3-pointers. Like, I'm not taking this.
That's why I'm saying, I'm looking at how amazing these guys be shooting from so deep. It's like amazing to me. Like they just they just do it with such ease.
Yeah.
From so deep, like I wasn't physically gifted. So, like you look at how can I say it? You see like that, like that's the furthest back my wrist go. So I could never be really a deep shooter. Look at a guy like Steph Curry. Like Steph Curry's hand goes back here. It's like crazy.
It flicks.
Yes. So I played with that since I was probably in middle school, high school, and I had a wrist injury, and never really got it fixed. But Coach Brown used to always tell people that story. I'm like, why are you telling people that? Oh, this is why Eric came. So if you can see, there's pictures that I had.
This is an icebreaker.
I'm like this, and the ball is like rolling down my hand while I'm shooting.
Man.
So yeah, it's he used to love telling that story.
I actually was going to bring this up earlier in the first question when you were talking about how coaches can enable a guy by hiding him and stuff. I was going to bring up Brown. That would not be Brown's style, right? Brown would not encourage that.
We wouldn't. Well, I mean, we wanted to win, so he would necessarily, like me offensively, he wouldn't necessarily hide me, but he would put me in position to, if I had to take a shot, I'm taking a shot from the places that I'm more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So he didn't really stash me in the corner because my best shot was top of the key for me. That was my best shot, my best percentage. Like I said, I'm guessing. Like I don't do the analytics now. I can believe that I was above 50% from that area.
Okay.
So he would try to put me in position to get my shots there. Defensively,
I would say hiding AI.
We would try to put Allen in position where he didn't have to do the things that he wanted to do, like play the guard, defend the pick and roll.
Yeah.
So if it was a guy that, like we played Milwaukee, for instance, Allen didn't really like the guard to pick and roll, and he didn't really like guys to post him up. So that's why he wanted to front everybody. So that's why I guarded against Milwaukee. That's why I guarded Sam Cassell, and he guarded Ray Allen. Because he liked guarding those guys. That's why I guarded Mark Jackson, and he guarded Reggie Miller. because Mark would just post him up and put him in pick and rolls, whereas Reggie was just coming off screens, and he was like, "Good, I'll do that. I'll chase."
Pretty similar to Allen, actually, Ray Allen.
So, that was kind of like where you can say we hit him, but how much are you really hiding him if he's guarding Ray Allen and Reggie Milton?
That's true. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. I guess. So I think there were. We didn't really. It wasn't necessarily hiding him. It was just kind of like
finding the right
thing
matchup
to help people. Yeah. So, just the way you did it. Man, our defense was different though. Like we had bigs that were active and athletic and smart, so we could play a Kobe Bryant and play him differently in pick and rolls. So we could play him based if he was on the left side and right side. We could, downing, we could trap him based on which side he was on and who else was in the pick and roll. Like if Shaq was in the pick and roll, we basically played it one way, no matter which side it was on, because you couldn't really get a body off of Shaq. But if somebody else was in there, if you didn't want to switch, or we didn't want, because you didn't want to switch anybody on Kobe, like we could play it different sides. So that's why I think like now it's so much switching going on that you don't get into that. Like you don't get into the, if a guy's on the right side, you send him left. You could be sending him left, but depending on which side of the court it is, it would be a different, scheme, defensive scheme. Now people had color coded, blue, white, red, black. Some people were numbers. Ours was basically Swift. We just talked it out.
Yeah.
Who was in it, and we did a run and jump, pick and roll, and we could do that because Allen was so fast. And then when we had Aaron at 3, we could move like that. So we could, no matter who was in the pick and roll, we would have the weak side guard. As soon as he came off, like if Allen couldn't get over the screen, have that other guard just go basically like he's trapping the ball. And then Allen would scoot out and just go get the guy in the corner. And a lot of times he would be there before the ball got there. Yeah. And so then I would kind of play like in between, or either I would be the guy to come and Aaron would play in between, and Allen would be that guy that gets the furthest guy away because he was so fast he could get there. And then he was so small that if anybody tried to screen him, it was going to be an illegal screen because he was going to fly all over the court on the little tap. You know what I'm saying? So you couldn't really screen him. You almost had to let him run. So we were able to do that a lot of times in his pick and rolls. And that's what I'm saying. Like that's kind of like, it's a scheme, but it's also hiding too. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of both.
Yeah. Yep. That's interesting. A tap would make him fly. Yeah, it wasn't even flopping because he only went like. I mean,
guys are huge, man. They hit him a little, but he's gone.
He was they had him listed at like 160, 165, but
he won the MVP. He got on the scale like around that time, and he was like, it might have been like after a game though, but he was like 156, 157.
Okay.
After the game.
With a wet jersey on.
Well, I mean, he had his shorts on, just the undershirt.
Okay.
So that was the one time I remember, like, this dude just won the MVP and he's under 160 pounds.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. AI was crazy because he was like a normal dude's size. Like,
that's what a lot of people were amazed. We would go in hotels, and that was the one thing that when we would walk in, that was the one thing that like people were like amazed that like, I'm bigger than them. Like, it's like you heard that all the time. Like, man, look how small he is. I can't believe how small he is.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So sticking with the defensive theme, and we talk about numbers and 40%. We're going to get into Teja's guy here, Eric. And I'm going to say this guy, Teja hasn't brought up this guy in a while, so I'm curious what he has to say about Matisse. So Matisse Thybulle dominating, and according to Jason Timberley, he tweeted out an interesting stat that I felt needed to be discussed. It said the Sixers are outscoring opponents by 15.7 points per 100 possessions in the 386 minutes that Thybulle is on the court, which I thought was wild. It's the best net rating of any player in the league with 300 plus minutes. And this is something I also heard on the ESPN NBA show. Stephen A. Smith said that the Sixers need to give Matisse Thybulle more minutes. So my question is to you guys, is it time to give Matisse more minutes, and where would those minutes come from?
Well, I guess you could, I didn't really see why his minutes really, it didn't happen. Like I went into the season, it wasn't whether he would be a starter for you. It was just.
That's right. Yeah, you picked him to be a starter.
Him not playing never really came into my thought process until the season started. So maybe in camp, they were proven different. But I do think with the season, as long as it is guys having injuries, maybe cutting down minutes, I do think that you can find a way. I think when the guards went out and Shake came and played as well as he did, that I think they've kind of said we're going to get – he's kind of like earned, set minutes, guaranteed minutes. So I think that's kind of shook it up a little bit. That he went from a guy that was in and out of the lineup to a guy that's in the lineup. So I think it can happen. I think maybe as the season goes on, maybe you get some of PJ's minutes.
Yeah.
Especially, I thought Tobias, especially the better Tobias is playing, the more you can probably give him some of PJ's minutes. Otherwise, I think it's tough. I mean, if because they're going to 3 guard lineups even more. So basically, they're giving that extra guard PJ's minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Melton in most cases, yeah.
So I know in the playoffs it's not going to happen because that rotation is going to be a solid 8 and maybe 9. He may just end up being a situational player. Like I don't think that stat is great, but I don't think that stat is going to influence them to play him because of that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's there.
So Dave earlier for Liberty Brawlers wrote a fantastic article. Even like a Bill Simmons retweeted. It was like, I never sold my Thybulle stocks, what Simmons said. So here's some nuggets I found interesting, right? So for the limited time he was on, CJ McCollum, he shut him down. Limited time, right? So 2 points, 1 of 3 from the field, 1 turnover, no 3-point attempts. So he didn't let him take one.
Which game was that one? The game where he dominated?
Second game. He hardly saw him in the first game. Second game, I believe. And no 3-point attempts from CJ is impressive because CJ doesn't need much room. He'll jack him up, man. He'll just do that little step back, sidestep, and shoot it. So although we have the 4th highest rated defense, allowing 110.8 points per 100 possessions, with him on the floor, they hold teams to 103 per 100, and then scoring 3 more points per 100 possessions. Our offense actually scores more points per 100 possessions as well. The differential with him on the floor, as far as points per 100 possessions, goes to plus 14.2 when he's on, which is really, really impressive. So Thybulle's name's in the 4 of the top trios that are on the Sixers. The trio of Toby, Embiid, and Matisse is a plus 78, 4th best on the team. He's 96th percentile on defense, 10th on offense, and his total plus minus are around guys like Reggie Jackson, Terry Rozier, and Bogdanovich. 3rd overall on the team with plus minus behind Joel and Harden.
Wow.
And his differential and expected wins are top on the team. We're 9-2 when he plays 16 minutes or more, and 5-1 when he starts.
Wow.
So a lot of great nuggets there. As far as the questions go, I'm not sure what it's funny. You said I haven't mentioned it. When you said that, I thought of like how they say that if you don't hear like a cornerback's name being mentioned, it means he's doing a good job. So that's kind of how it is with Thybulle. If I don't say his name, it means he's doing a good job on the court. I'm not sure why. We have a talented teams, right? So it's a good problem to have. He should see more minutes. The article speculates is actually it's all about saying all of his good stats, and it speculates as to why. Kind of what Eric said, but they said they don't think it's a crunch time or playoff viable, those stats. So although they look great, they don't know how that translates at the end of the game when you actually need buckets, right?
That's what I was saying. Like I don't think this would be a situation where Doc would be like, this is something that we need, or like I think it's just good for him to use.
Maybe for a trade. So Morey's actually talked about it before. He said that in the past that specialists become tough to play because if you don't put 5 scoring threats on the floor on offense, you become incredibly easy to guard. So once you put a one-way defensive player out there, you become easier to guard in the playoffs. Doc basically agreed, saying playing one-way guys in the playoffs, it creates more challenges for other players who play with that player and other coaches. Do you agree with that assessment, Eric?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just found that interesting. That's just so I don't know. I mean, Dave Early actually commented when Bill Simmons tweeted it out and said, what do you think? What do you think Dallas will give us for Toby and Matisse? So even if it's to consolidate our roster and maybe get a trade going, I don't know if Thybulle's stats are that good to be able to get out of huge contracts. But
I mean, the Mavericks would take him. Just depends on what we're going to take back.
Well, I heard they're having trouble with Christian Wood right now, and he wants to be re-upped, and they don't plan on doing that. I heard, so they might be trying to move him at some point. He's actually playing lights out. I think, but Christian Wood, Tobias Harris it's not an improvement. It's like at best lateral. So making less money, sure, but I don't know. That's tough. You Christian Wood and Tim Hardaway Jr. for like Matisse and Toby. A little different. I mean, I don't know. We have similar problems though. It's a minutes problem, right? Like we have a minutes problem. We don't.
If you made that trade, then Tim would play over Shake.
Yes, that's true. Yeah,
Tim would play.
Yeah. I was gonna say they said this in the article too. He's taken it kind of clicked with me. I was like, hey, you're right. Taking a lot of Daniel House's minutes lately. And yes, I think next to eat into it will probably be PJ a little bit too, which wouldn't be bad because I think we talked about this last week. Cut down on PJ's minutes a little bit. You don't need to play him 35, 36 minutes a game. It's not necessary, especially when you have Thybulle right there.
Yeah.
And both those guys probably score around the same. I mean, it's not like Tucker's providing any kind of offensive like scoring either, and they're both good defenders. So it's not like we're taking away points by taking Tucker off.
No.
Yeah.
Probably very, very similar in that regard. In fact, I think this year, Thybulle's offense looks better than Tucker's because we talked about his scoring droughts. Yeah. But the thing is, Tucker can play. I mean, probably going to start Tucker now. Actually, I don't know.
Yeah, but if Thybulle was going scoreless the way PJ did, you would lose your mind.
Yeah,
I'd be slaughtering him. I'd be slaughtering him.
Lose your mind.
I'm not even no bones about it. But
especially with the same amount of minutes,
we can start Tucker at 5, though. We can't start Thybulle at 5.
I'm just saying, you would lose your mind if that happened.
It's true.
That's how you know.
I don't think we.
That's how you know you biased, man. You biased for the older man.
Thing is, I don't think we'd even get that far. I think Doc would be more biased than me. He'd pull it out.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Doc would be like, can't shoot. I mean, you just pull him right away. Yeah. So, yeah. But with PJ, you got Doc citing the plus minuses when they talk about PJ.
Mm-hmm.
But when you talk about Matisse's plus minus, it's we don't know that's playoff viable. Well, okay. But yeah.
So Matisse, what was your threshold you wanted him to shoot this year as far as 3-point percentage, Teja? What was the number you had?
Oh, I think he's definitely there.
He's at 35% right now, 34.
I think that was it. I think that was 35, 36 around there.
Yeah. There you go. That's precisely why we haven't heard anything. You're not even praising him on the show, but you're not saying anything about him at all.
He's hovering around there. Let's not pop champagne like the 72 Dolphins, okay? He's hovering.
Yeah, the Matisse Thybulle victory parade.
Yeah, I'm not doing that just yet. He's hovering. Come like May, he's still shooting 36% with the same amount of minutes, maybe more minutes. Okay, I'll start calling the parade companies out.
All right. So last topic here, we kind of mentioned it. Tonight we are hosting the Bulls. We are a 4.5-point favorite and no Joel Embiid. And as Teja said, that we are undefeated with Embiid against the Bulls in his tenure with the Sixers. So who do you guys have tonight? We're a 4.5-point favorite at home. Who do you guys got?
It's gonna be tough for us tonight.
Do we start Tucker against Vooch? Who do we start at 5? You put Reed at 5 or Harrell at 5?
You got to start Harrell the way he played the last game and kind of see if it's a carryover.
Tucker's just too. I think he's just too small for Vooch, man.
It's gonna be tough. I mean, if they're really trying to play, and I think they beat the Nets, I'll say we don't pull it out tonight.
You said we don't pull it out?
Yeah, for the first time.
Okay.
Can't just be on here saying we can win every game. It's not real.
Well, you could, but you'd be biased like me with Matisse.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna win every game. Yeah, I'll go out on the limb now. I'll say the opposite.
The spread, the spread makes me like us, which is weird because it's -5 without Embiid. I mean, they're coming off a good win. You think people are jumping? I need to look at the money. You think people are jumping on the Bulls the way that spread is right now? I spread wise, I like us, but if I'm just looking at the game and matchups and everything, I'd say them. I just don't know who's going to guard Vooch and DeRozan always gets us good, man. He roasts us. So I'm gonna say Chicago based on that, but let me take a look at the where the money's at, because that also means everything. So
I don't know if this is spread or just the money line, but 67% of percentage of bets have been placed on the Sixers tonight versus 33% Chicago.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And the line's gone down, so that doesn't really jive.
So yeah. Well, most of the money's on the 63% of the money's on the Bulls.
Money line or spread?
Spread.
Okay.
So people like the 4.5, and it hasn't really moved. It's 4.5. So yeah, I do like us.
Well, hopefully. All right, guys. Well, hopefully we lock in another dub in the Eastern Conference in the same week. So Indiana and Chicago. Be great. Be a great week. Great closeout to the week.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Well, we hope you guys have a good weekend. And that does it for us. Thanks for tuning in to Bleav In 76ers, presented by BetOnline. We'll see you guys next week. Take it easy, fellas.
All right, guys. Have a good weekend.
Easy.